There we go. Right, you are.
Rushing the season. It's warm now, so let's play Christmas music. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are here and raring to go.
Indeed. All right.
And everything. Hey, it stayed in tune.
It did.
By golly. That's all right.
Okay. Now.
Okay. Guess we'll...
I think we have two folks.
Alrighty.
No comments yet.
Not a problem. We are going to go ahead and start.
Well, I hope my mic is right. I think I got it back the way I had it before.
Well, I can't really... Oh, what did I do with my hat? Oh, there it is.
There it is, George. Your hat.
I'll put it on before...
Ivan Stiles. Hi, Lin and George. Hi, Ivan.
Hello, Ivan.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Hope things are going well for you and Nan up there.
Yes.
With MLAG fast approaching.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Finally got all my paperwork. You wouldn't believe all the crap you got to go through to fly with a guide dog. It's just amazing. But we had a visit from my sister. Hadn't seen her in 40 years.
A long time.
And one of her daughters travels a lot, and she says they've got a thing called TSA free now. So for $75 and an interview and your fingerprints, you can get a 5-year card, or 4-year card, I guess, and you can skip all the taking off your shoes and all of that stuff.
Philippa is here.
Hello,
Hi,
Philippa.
guys, she said.
Good to see you.
In face. Welcome.
Today's show is the second half of what we did last week.
Jerry Burgess Jr.
Hey, Jerry.
Hello, my friends. Hope
Wow,
all is
good to
well.
see you. Hope things are...
Yes, going well with you in this wonderful end of May.
We're calling this one Greatest Hits Volume 2. Last week we played we started with number 40 and we got all the way up to number 21 of the greatest hits on the show in the first 82 shows. And now we're going to count down all the way to number 1.
Philippa said, trying to grab, I believe she's saying, Eileen, she wants to hear.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that.
Yes.
I will tell you that I am trying out the equipment that I'm going to use for MLAG. It is my portable, audible teleprompter thing that I'm going to be using on stage. So if I lose my place from time to time, it's because I haven't quite got the feel of this pedal. But I'm going to use it now all the way up to MLAG, so bear with me on that. And we will start with the number 20 song. It's called yeah. It's easy for you to say.
It's easy.
It's called Hellbent for Leather.
Oh, a favorite of mine.
And I don't know who wrote it. And I don't know who recorded it either. I heard it on a radio program one time that I recorded. It's one of Lin's favorites.
Yes.
Is that it? In the sangre de Christos, the blood of Christ, they say, there's a 2-bit prison rodeo in a town called Judgment Day. He was spawned by a twister, a brother to the night. A demon wrapped in rawhide, and that bull was born to fight. They called him hell-bent for leather. In his eyes you could see the souls of all the men who rode and died, bucking hard into forever. It was hell-bent for leather if you drew the demon's ride. Now Billy rode the big bulls. The circuit was his life. But he was doing time in the big house 'cause a stranger killed his wife. He hit a snowbank west of Cheyenne, no alibi for the night she died. Now 3 days shy of a dead man's walk, he prayed for one last ride. And he grew hell-bent for leather. In his eyes you could see the souls of all the men who rode and died, bucking hard into forever. It was hell-bent for leather if you drew the demon's ride. Sunset blood red under dark green clouds in old New Mexico. For a mountain town, it was a good-sized crowd for that prison rodeo. The tougher souls stayed on that night to watch the clouds roll in, and as the storm kept up and the thunder rolled, the bull rides, they did begin. And it was hell-bent for leather. In his eyes you could see the souls of all the men who rode and died, bucking hard into forever. It was hell-bent for leather if you drew the demon's ride. Leather was the last bull in. Eyes blazed in the pouring rain. As he bellowed into the howling rain, young Billy looked insane. For a moment all stood deathly still as he dropped on Leather's back. Not a breath of wind, not a thunder's roll, but the sky turned green to black. The buzzer sounded long and loud like a woman's frightened scream. They say the rides of legends began and played out like Satan's dream. It seemed to last till the dead of night, that 8-second round. And as the clock hit 2 clicks more, lightning struck the ground. The tougher souls that stayed that night all swore before their eyes. Both bull and man in a brilliant flash disappeared into starlit skies. And it was hell-bent for leather. In his eyes you could see the souls of all the men who rode and died, bucking hard into forever. It was hell-bent for leather if you drew the demon's ride. There's justice done on a stormy night in a town called Judgment Day, where a greater hand took an innocent man and a killer bull away. Legends say when the thunder rolls and the sky turns black and green, there's a ghostly glow by the rodeo, and in the mists he can be seen, riding hell-bent for leather. In his eyes you could see the souls of all the men who rode and died, bucking hard into forever. It was hell-bent for leather if you drew the demon's ride. In the sangre de Christos, the blood of Christ, they say, there's a 2-bit prison rodeo in a town called Judgment Day.
Got a problem. Check the login details shown. Was it you? We noticed a login from a browser device or location you don't usually use, so we've locked your account to help keep it safe. Learn more. Only choose yes if you're sure you recognize the login details shown here.
Just click yes.
Well, I'm trying to... Where's the mouse? There it is. Hang on.
We don't know if we're still with you.
Hang on, guys. This was a meta attack. Well, not an attack, but looking out for us here. It says you're live now. We disappeared for a minute.
Well, maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
Philippa said, "What was that?" I don't know. Did it have to do with your probably your setup is different?
Well, I don't know why they did that. They said it was an unfamiliar browser.
Bob Hale is here.
Hello, Bob. Getting off to a ragged start as usual here. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know why it did that. Well, I hope we're all right.
Well,
I would imagine.
we do have.
Philippa said you're here. That's good.
Yes, indeed. I don't know if it interrupted our stream or not, and it doesn't matter because whatever it did, it did.
Yeah, well, we're back.
All right, we're back.
Okay. If it happens again, you'll know that something happened again.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But I'm glad you didn't interrupt me until I finished the song. If it happens, something like that happens again, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I thought there was a chance it was still going on, but I didn't know, so.
I think it may be time for a drink.
It is. What? I picked the wrong day to drink Dr. Pepper.
Of something stronger than what's in this big blue mug.
Yes.
Okay, let me turn off this keyboard. Guess I
It's
already
been a long time since I watched that airplane movie.
This song was written by Johnny McRae, recorded by Don Bowman, and I'm not going to give you the title because it'll give it away. You've heard it before. It's number 19 this week. If you ask me to climb up a mountain to prove that my love is the best, why, I wouldn't do it. Really, I wouldn't do it. That's all there is to it. I just wouldn't do it, 'cause high places scare me to death. If you ask me to swim across the ocean to prove my devotion to you, why, I wouldn't do it. Really, I just wouldn't do it. That's all there is to it. I just wouldn't do it, 'cause salt water makes me turn blue. If I should go climbing and swimming about, just what would it prove besides wearing me out? Suppose I should drown and fall down on my head, just what would it prove now, except that I are dead? If you ask me to cross the burning desert to prove just how much I love you, why, I wouldn't do it. Shucks, I wouldn't do it. That's all there is to it. I just wouldn't do it, 'cause I can't stand sand in my shoes. That's all there is to it. And friends, that's all there is to it.
Oh, Bob said, "We love your hit parade."
Well, thank you, Bob.
Yes. And Amber said, "Sharing failed on my end. Internet is down here. Sadness."
Okay,
But
well,
thanks for trying.
thanks for trying.
And Philip said, "How you can drink Dr. Pepper is beyond me. It's nasty. I'm drinking it only because that's what's in the house for Greg." And I have to agree, it's
Nasty.
no, not what I would choose, but it's got caffeine, and that's a good thing.
No one should drink something that contains ethylene glycol, all right? I mean,
Not on a regular basis, sure.
Have a little antifreeze.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, I can drink it. There's just, you know.
Number 18 on our top 20 countdown is an Americanized version of an old Irish song called Seven Drunken Nights. This is the version that Linda's dad liked so much, and we've had a lot of requests for it. This version is called Mustache on a Melon. I came home the other night as drunk as I could be, when I saw a horse in the stable where my horse ought to be. I asked my wife, my pretty little wife, to explain this thing to me. What's a horse doing in the stable where my horse ought to be? She said, you old fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? That ain't nothing but a milk cow my granny gave to me. Well, I've traveled this whole world over, and I guess I'll travel more. But a saddle on a milk cow I've never seen before. I came home the other night as drunk as I could be, when I saw a hat on the hat rack where my hat ought to be. I asked my wife, my pretty little wife, to explain this thing to me. What's a hat doing on the hat rack where my hat ought to be? She said, you old fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? That ain't nothing but a chamber pot my granny gave to me. I've traveled this whole world over, and I guess I'll travel more. But a J.P. Stetson chamber pot I've never seen before. I came home the other night as drunk as I could be, when I saw some pants on the chair where my pants ought to be. I asked my wife, my pretty little wife, to explain this thing to me. What's the pants doing on the chair where my pants ought to be? She said, you old fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? That ain't nothing but a dish rag my granny gave to me. I've traveled this whole world over, and I guess I'll travel more. But a zipper on a dish rag I've never seen before. I came home the other night as drunk as I could be, when I saw a head on the pillow where my head ought to be. I asked my wife, my pretty little wife, to explain this thing to me. What's a head doing on the pillow where my head ought to be? She said, you old fool, you drunken fool, can't you plainly see? That ain't nothing but a melon my granny gave to me. I've traveled this whole world over, and I guess I'll travel more. But a mustache on a melon I've never seen before.
Amber said, I've always loved this one. I have too. That's a good song.
Yeah, the other one, the original is a whole lot bawdier than that one. That one's
yes.
cleaned up a little bit.
Ivan put a big smile face.
Thank you, Ivan. By the way, folks, make Ivan's concert tomorrow a part of your Memorial Day weekend. It's on at this same time tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time. He and his wife Nancy put on a whale of a performance, and you ought to check it out if you haven't already. He does some really great old folk tunes, and he's got a great audience that helps him do research, and all kind of fun things happen. Don't miss it. Check it out.
Ginny says hi. Flip says
hello, Ginny. Good to see you. Hope
Yes,
you're doing
welcome,
well.
Heidi says thanks for the plug.
Anytime, brother.
Man, yes.
Here's one by Ray Stevens. Don't know who wrote it.
Oh, that was another thing on the song you weren't sure about back there. What was that? Anyway, Hellbent for Leather.
Yeah.
Philippa put on a Wikipedia connection, and Ivan said who wrote it, but I have to scroll up to get it.
Okay. Well, we'll do that after the show because I need to write it
And I
down.
want to thank you for that. Sorry, I skipped that.
Appreciate the research, guys.
Yes.
Okay. I have lost my place. Which
I lost your place
not a
too.
good thing.
You said what you were going to do, and I can't.
Oh, yes, okay. This is called Power Tools. Now, some folks say grown-up men are still just little boys, and really the only difference is the price of our toys. We go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pickup trucks and hunting ducks and power tools, power tools, power tools. You just plug 'em in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you got the proper power tools. Hello? 911? Yeah, I was out in the front yard testing out my brand new gas-powered weed whacker there. Somehow or another, she got caught on the hammer loop of my Big Smith overalls. Yeah, before I could get her shut down, she screwed me plumb 3 foot down the middle of the front yard there. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty, as long as you're down there, why don't you check the fescue for aphids?" That woman's a real comedian. Hardy har har. Now, some folks say macho men use tools to compensate for a lack of virility. Well, I thought about that, but wait, there may be some validity in what those people say, but in my case, it's the only way I can get outside and play. Boy, I love his stuff. Power tools, power tools. You just plug 'em in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you got the proper power tools. Hello? Emergency? Yeah, I was out in the garden testing out my brand new direct drive rototiller there, and somehow or another the rawhide lace on my red goosework boots got tangled up in that outboard tiller tine. Yeah, before I could get her shut down, she dragged me plumb across the front yard, right up underneath my neighbor's Toyota 4x4. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty!" Funny how a name will stick with you like that. "Hey, Shorty, as long as you're going to be playing Mr. Goodrich, it seems to me you'd want to work on our jalopy first." That woman's a regular Roseanne Barr. Now 911 rescued me and carried me away to the local hospital for at least a 2-week stay. The doctor said, "I hope you learned your lesson. Thanks to power tools, you're nearly dead." I didn't hear a word he was saying. I was playing with my power bed. Power tools. Power tools. Hello, nurse's station? Yeah, send somebody up to room 304 quick. My power bed's stuck in the upright position. I'm folded up in here like a great big taco. Whoa, if you got the proper power tools.
Another favorite of mine.
Yes, indeed. I like that one. I don't play songs that I don't like.
Well, that's a fact.
I know some consummate professionals who will do that, but I mess them up every time, no matter how, with the best intentions and everything.
Just harp's not in it.
That's right. Okay. Here's a song that was done by Homer and Jethro, and it's called She Thinks I Don't Care. Whoops. She thinks I don't care just because I tried to leave the country, just because I pushed her brother down the stairs, just because I said her mother is a mental case. She thinks I don't care just because I sent her poison ivy, just because I poured epoxy in her hair, just because I throwed a bomb on her front porch today. She thinks I don't care. And if my name is mentioned accidentally, they have to pull her off the chandelier. She seems to think that I don't really love her. Now where would she get such an idea? Just because I took her car and money, 'cause I wrote her name and number, guess where? Just because I married her sister and we leave today. She thinks I don't care. She thinks I don't care. And I reckon I really don't.
Well, whatever gave her an idea.
I don't know. I just can't figure it out. Goodness. How did that make the top 10?
That's a good question. But it's funny, is why. Well, I forget who you said wrote that one.
Homer and Jethro. I don't know who wrote the original, because the original was called She Thinks I Still Care.
Oh, no,
So
I
it's
mean
a
the parody. Yeah,
was
this is a parody.
done by Homer and Jethro. So I
Okay.
assume they collaborated on the parody. All right. This was written by Larry Kingston, John Edward Nix, and was recorded by Roy Clark.
Ooh.
I made a small fortune and you squandered it all. You shamed me till I feel about 1 inch tall. But I thought that I loved you and I hoped you would change. So I gritted my teeth and didn't complain. And now you come to me with a simple goodbye. You tell me you're leaving, but you won't tell me why. Now we're here at the station and you're getting on, and all I can think of is thank God and Greyhound you're gone. Thank God and Greyhound you're gone. I didn't know how much longer I could go on, watching you take the respect out of me and just watching you make a total wreck out of me. That big diesel motor is a-playing my song. Thank God and Greyhound you're gone. Thank God and Greyhound you're gone. That load on my mind got lighter when you got on. That shiny old bus is a beautiful sight. See the blacks with the black smoke a-rolling up around the tail lights. It may sound kind of cruel, but I've been silent too long. Thank God and Greyhound you're gone. Thank God and Greyhound you're gone. Here's another Ray Stevens tune. Song, I guess. Songs are, we sing songs and we play tunes. You can't sing tunes, I guess.
Yeah,
that's these picky people that, well, you know, it's not, anyway. Ray Stevens did this. It's called The Dog's Song. She said, I'm tired of being treated like a dog. I'm out of here. When I heard those words, it really made me perk up my ears. I know she's been mistreated, but what she said is wrong. If he'd have treated her like a dog, she'd have never gone. If he had rolled around and played with her on the floor down in the den, taken her for nice long walks, given her a bath and then dried her off, rubbed her tummy, scratched her behind her ears, well, I'll bet you a bag of kennel ration that she'd still be here if he had only treated her like a dog. Happy ever after would have been their epilogue. She'd have never strayed away from home. She'd have wagged her tail and tagged along if he had only treated her like a dog. He calls me prince, treats me like a king. When it comes to her, I don't know why he can't do the same doggone thing. like wash her dish and water bowl every night like he does mine. Compliment her, give her little treats from time to time. Let her out all on her own every now and then. Well, I'd have had some stiff competition to be that man's best friend if he had only treated her like a dog. Happy ever after would have been their epilogue. She'd have never strayed away from home. She'd have wagged her tail and tagged along if he had only treated her like a dog. If he had only treated her like a dog.
Did you hear that outside?
Yep. The Hells Angels have arrived.
Must be motorcycle or something out there revving up.
Yeah, well, it's
Probably
Alabama.
a lawnmower.
No, it ain't a lawnmower.
No, I think it's a motorcycle.
I don't know what it is. I don't think I care.
No, it just got loud.
Here's a song that was written and recorded by Tom Paxton. It's called The Name of the Game is Stud. Well, late last night in the kettle of fish, I was having a glass of beer, when up comes a rounder by the name of Sam, who'd lately been seen around here. He gives me a howdy and he buys me a drink and he calls me by my name. Said some of the boys are just a-waiting upstairs, would you like to have a poker game? There were 4 or 5 fellas round the table upstairs. The smoke was thick as sin. They took my coat and they pulled up a chair and they proceeded to deal me in. I started in a winning with the very first hand, and I kept on winning for a while. Had money in my pockets and money in my shoes and money in a great big pile. But it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud. I kept on winning for an hour or more, and the boys was feeling low. I was looking like a winner and feeling like a sinner, and I just about had their dough. I caught a pair of aces on the very last hand, and I bet my whole bankroll. But Sammy had a pair of deuces on the deck and another deuce in the hole. And it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud. You know I lost every penny that I had in the world. I lost my last red cent. Now my old woman ain't talking to me, and the landlord wants his rent. I know I had it coming, and it sure enough did, and I've only got myself to blame. But my fingers keep itching and I keep on twitching just to find another poker game. And it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud.
Deborah, Lynn Brace.
Hello, Debbie.
Welcome, Debbie.
On this Memorial Day weekend, I'm glad you took a little bit of part of it to come by and visit with us.
And Ziggy is here.
Hello, Ziggy.
Hi,
From
Georgia.
Germany.
Greetings again from Germany. I'm a bit late since I've been at an outdoor gathering with live music and left a bit too late. Well,
I can understand that, Ziggy. I probably would have done the same thing. Yes, indeed. Good to have you with us.
Yes. This is the second half for those who are joining us late.
Yes, this is the top 20 greatest songs of our first 82 shows, and we are up to number 12.
Oh my!
Which was written and recorded by the Moron Brothers.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's always an adventure with those old boys. And it's called The Night That Pa Got Hung in That Electric Fence. were born and raised way back in the sticks. Everybody used to call us Hicks. We had a 20-acre holler nestled between two hills. We raised hogs and chickens, and cows and a mule. We might have been hillbillies, but we weren't no fools. We had plenty to eat. Raised it all ourselves. Now the biggest problem that we ever had was a mule named Rodney. Kept everybody mad. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't keep him fenced in. He'd get in the garden and Ma's flower bed, and Pa'd cuss and scratch his old gray head, settle his nerves with a drink, and patch the fence again. Me and my brother bought an electric fence, battery and all. Put it up one night, gonna surprise our Pa. Had to keep that mule in so Pa wouldn't get so tense. Pa got up that night, he was moving kinda quick, headed for the outhouse. The fog was thick. He must have lost his way 'cause he got hung in that electric fence. Yeah, he must have went through a spiritual change. He don't look the same anymore. He works hard every day, goes to church every Sunday. No more loafing at the country store. Treats us all different, even quit chewing tobacco. Ain't cussed or drank ever since the night that Pa got hung in that electric fence. We heard Pa scream. He said, "Come quick, sons. The Martians have got me. They're zapping me with their guns." It wasn't hard to find. There was sparks flying everywhere. He said, "Stand back, boys. I ain't a-joking." His body was jerking and his long johns were smoking. His hair was standing straight up and he must have been really scared. Well, we was trying to tell Pa what we'd done when we saw Ma coming with her old shotgun. She said, "Step aside, boys. Ain't no Martian gonna get my man." When the mule ran out of the barn with a bucket on his head, Ma let go both barrels and filled him with lead. She thought he was a Martian. We couldn't make her understand. Yeah, he must have went through a spiritual change. He don't look the same anymore. He works hard every day, goes to church every Sunday. No more loafing at the country store. Treats us all different, even quit chewing tobacco. Ain't cussed or drank ever since the night that Pa got hung in that electric fence. We got Pa out when the battery went dead. He was stiff as a board when we got him in bed. Me and my brother got scared and sneaked that fence back to the store. They still swear up and down that the Martians were there, and they ain't been able to do nothing with Pa's hair. And they can't figure out why the mule won't eat out of a bucket anymore.
Oh, goodness.
You know,
said 82, that's wonderful.
yeah, 82 shows. This is 84. The 83 was 40 through 21 of the first 82. So we've played a lot of music. Now, cooler heads prevail. Standing back and looking at that whole mishigas there, why didn't they just disconnect the battery?
That's a good question.
Of course, you wouldn't think of that.
Think of it
but
right in the throes of the thing.
yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. Well,
Ziggy said, "I see you're playing your very fine Schreiber Autoharp.
indeed I am.
Is it now a standard chromatic?"
Yes,
Yes, indeed.
yes. It is a 6-key chromatic Autoharp. I can play in B flat, F, C, G, D, and A. Some better than others. A is a little bit crippled because there's no E natural. There's an E7. but all the relative minors are down here on the bottom row. I have it laid out like an Oscar Schmidt. I want to play it. I don't want to do a learning curve. I'm sure that the other setup is better, but that's all right.
This fits you. I mean, you could,
Yeah.
It does.
All right. Let me find the number on this. This is number 11, written by C.W. Kalb, I think. I'm not sure, however. Done by Ray Stevens, and it's called Too Drunk to Fish. Now, me and Harold, this buddy of mine, decided we'd go fishing one time, so we drove to the lake with my brand new bass boat. I brought the fishing poles, pork and beans, saltine crackers and the canned sardines, and Harold brought all the booze one man could tote. While I loaded the boat and filled the tank and tried to get that motor to crank, Harold just sat there sipping on a long neck beer. While I was steering the boat and tying the plugs, he was drinking moonshine straight from the jug, and he was singing Melancholy Baby when we left the pier. Never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Well, I was concentrating, perfecting my cast, hoping to land a trophy bass, and Harold was having trouble trying to find the lake. Laying there beside him, at his feet, was an anchor line, coiled up real neat. Harold saw it, went white as a ghost, and hollered, "Snake!" Well, he jumped straight up and started to yell. I said, "Sit down, Harold, and behave yourself. Can't you see that's nothing but a piece of rope?" Well, he was scared to death, plumb out of his mind, trying not to get bit by that anchor line, and he grabbed my shotgun and blew a hole in the bottom of the boat. Harold, never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Just leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Now, too drunk to fish is too drunk to swim, so I was dog paddling and dragging him, and finally made it to a little sandbar just big enough for two. It was way after dark when that helicopter came with that big searchlight and calling our names, and old Harold looked up to the sky and said, "Lord, is that you?" And then he knelt there in that heavenly glow and said, "Lord, you know I ain't ready to go, so if you pass me by tonight, oh, I will reform." And they threw down a raft and I paddled us home, and he never touched a drop from that moment on. You know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. Never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Just leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Oh, don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish.
Ziggy added, "I'm also playing a setup very close to the old Oscar Schmidt layout." And Debbie Lane is here.
Hello,
Finally made
Debbie.
it for a live.
Yay,
Welcome.
great. Glad you did.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah, Ziggy, I understand that. It's just I played that way for so long. I set up an Oscar Schmidt with the Brian Bowers layout, and a lot of the progressions that I play are hard to play that way. But the thing that I really, really love about this Autoharp is you don't have to dig at it. I have to be careful to keep this hand up just a little bit, because if I dig, it doesn't sound good. And the way it's built, my picks and nails get hung up in the strings a little bit. Our number 10 song was written and recorded by Steve Goodman, a man who left us way too soon. And this is called "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" What have you done for me lately? I hear it all along the avenue. What have you done for me lately? It's how old friends show their gratitude. Not just when you're needing a little support, where faces get long and their memories get short. What have you done for me lately? Basie, lately I've been doing without you. She was young and beautiful and drowning, and I was the only hero in the crowd. Gave her artificial respiration, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Pulled her up on the beach and dried her out. Took her home and fed her chicken soup and chocolate, and tucked her right into a feather bed. Nursed her through the night, and with the morning light, she rolled over, looked up at me, and said, "What have you done for me lately? 'Cause lately I've been doing without you. What have you done for me lately? I hear it all along the avenue. What have you done for me lately? It's how your old friends show their gratitude. You cast your bread on the water, and what do you get? A lot of hard luck stories, and your bread gets wet now. What have you done for me lately? They say lately I've been doing without you. Lately I've been doing without you."
We have Gretchen Barron with us.
Hello,
Good to be
Gretchen.
with you again today.
Indeed. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm glad you like it.
Yes.
You ought to get something else to drink.
Yeah.
I hear you drinking that and going,
It's kind of like that. Yeah. If
yeah.
You don't mind.
No.
I really. Philippa's right. I don't know how I drink that either. I'll be back
Really?
with something a little more pleasant to the palate.
This one is number 9. I think it's number 9. Might be number 8. Let me see if I can find out. Well, I'm not sure I can find out what's going on here.
Is the pedal mister?
No, it's hard to do.
That's going to take some practice.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be back as soon as possible.
I'm going to practice intensely for the next 2 weeks. This is the very first time, other than a song circle last Saturday, that I've used this equipment, folks. And that's why you're hearing me stumble on songs that I usually play a little better. But I need to practice with this pedal now every chance I get. It's a very interesting piece of equipment, but you have to press the pedal just so, or it simply doesn't work. Number 9 on our top 20 countdown here was written and recorded by a fellow who calls himself Flippy T Fishhead. Now, Flippy T, I'll tell you what, we all think we got problems. And we do. And our problems seem more serious to us than other people's problems seem to us. But Flippy T's got a problem that's so debilitating and so unusually horrifying that, well, every time I get to feeling sorry for myself, I think about Flippy and I feel a lot better. There's a full moon in the pasture tonight. Hangs like a fine and polished pearl, so pure and white. The average guy finds such beauty in its light, but I'm the werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm the werecow. Now I'm stuck. It seemed so innocent when Bossy bit my hand. I was just trying to milk her, but I didn't understand that Bossy really was Pierre the handyman. He was a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. He was a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. He was a werecow. By day I worked the fields here on my daddy's farm. By night I roamed the neighbor's place in search of corn, chewing my cud and trying to keep my udders warm. I'm a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a werecow. The mornings after always make my family wince. I know it's hard for them to try and make some sense of finding me naked with my head stuck through a fence. I'm the werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm the werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a werecow. Now, if any of you feel that you exhibit bovinthropic tendencies and you'd like to moo along with us, just go right ahead. We'll understand. I found this gypsy who said she could break the curse. Said that she sympathized with me, but she'd seen worse. Said Lon Chaney Jr. used to be a client of hers. She was pretty, wore a real nice dress. Shoot, I was impressed. She asked for money and I gladly said I'd pay. When she said $1 million, I swear I was enraged. So I bit that gypsy. And now, well, we're engaged. She's a werecow like me. Moo, moo, moo. She's a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. She's a werecow. And a pretty little heifer she is, too. These days the sheriff lets me spend the night in jail, so I won't hurt nobody when the moon turns pale, or end up some entree at the local steak and ale. I'm the were-cow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm the were-cow. Somebody call a vet. Yeah, I think I'm getting a touch of milk fever. I'm the were-cow.
That's a good one.
Well, it's number 8 in our all-time top 40.
My goodness. Ziggy said the so-called Bowers layout is optimized for strictly old-time diatonic tunes. Example, harmonic or melodic minor tunes are very awkward on that layout, as are other very chromatic tunes.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And that's what I found out. And when I bought the Tahoma from Pete Daigle, while I was waiting in line to have it done, I set one up. I set one of my Schmitts up that way. And I said, man, I can't play anything I like on here. So I asked Pete to do the Tahoma that way. And then this harp started out life as an F diatonic with a bunch of blues and jazz chords, sustained fourths and minor ninths, and I don't know what kind of music they were going to play with it, but I brought it home and I sure did. I tried to, and I could play some stuff, but I put it down, and I kind of woke up a few months ago and said, you really ought to play that thing. After all, it's the first prize Autoharp for the contest you won. And so I got with Greg and said, hey, what'll you take to set it up so I can play it? And he also added a pickup. It did not come with a pickup. So he added the pickup and set it up this way and lowered the action. The action is, man, it's beautiful. And I love the way it sounds. I love the way the Tahoma sounds too, but and the Tahoma has a mellower, deeper, more full-bodied tone. This is bright and kind of sprightly.
Yes.
It's great for playing banjo tunes and things, and we'll show you that here as the day wears on. But I'm now very, very happy with it, and I play it a lot. I really, really like it. I have to have a right-handed Autoharp at MLAG because I'm teaching a workshop on lap style playing, and I don't want some Weisenheimer coming along and saying, well, yeah, you can play that way because you don't have to cross your hands. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, you've got to have the cross hands.
And, it's a heck of a note, but I like playing cross-handed better than I like this, because this hand supports this hand, so I can just be, and when I do it this way, this hand wants to drop into the strings. I still play the Tahoma a lot, and you'll see it a lot. But right now, I'm getting to know this jewel because I have to play it.
Very pleased that you are.
Yeah, I'm going to play one of my 2 concerts with this and one with the Tahoma, equal time, and hopefully I can do it. I'm very nervous about this.
I got a couple more comments.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Pam Kennedy is with us.
Hello, Pam.
And she says, sounds good, my friend.
And Ruby
George.
Dog.
And yes, Ruby Rose says, hi with a bark.
All right.
And Amber said, where cow, love it, you big grin, smiley face.
Tell Ruby I said good guide dogs don't bark.
Okay. And Ivan said, company has arrived. We'll catch the rest of this later.
Oh, no problem, Ivan. I'm so glad you dropped in for a while. I have a commitment tomorrow. I have watched so I will have to listen to you later as well, unfortunately. But I have a tradition in I have to maintain. I have
it's our anniversary.
it's our tomorrow's our 47th wedding anniversary.
Married in
1976.
bicentennial year.
Yep. She was a bicentennial bride.
I was.
And since I was 6 years old, I've maybe missed 2 or 3 Indianapolis 500-mile races, but not very many in all those years. I love that thing, and it's quite an occasion.
Ziggy said very fine mooing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully I can get mooed at MLAG. That would be a first, wouldn't
That'd be great, yes.
Yeah. I did get mooed at CAG.
Yes.
And I didn't ask for it either. People just started doing it.
Mood at MLive, boy.
Number 8 was written by Bill and Taffy Danoff and John Denver and a host of others, and Lynn's going to join me on this one. She didn't know it.
I didn't know it, but...
Surprise!
Hey, Brendan Duarte. Hiya, guys.
Hey, Doc! Wow, how are ya?
Hey.
Thanks for stopping by.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm going to join in on this one.
Yeah.
I'm bound.
You'll
So
be fine.
inspired to.
That's right. Country Roads.
Yeah.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue waters. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. I hear her voice in the morning now. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Nice, nice, nice.
Let's see, I got a comment or two here. Hang on. That's interesting. Here's one. Amber had a question. Do they still sing Back Home Again in Indiana now that Jim Neighbors is, she said Neighbors because of autocorrect. Neighbors is gone. She corrected that down.
Yes, they do. They've been singing that ever since I started listening. It's a tradition that predates Jim. It's just that everybody liked him so well that they kept having him back until he was too old to do it. I think he did it until like the year before he passed.
Doc said great when we said we were going to do Country Roads.
Thank you, Doc.
Then he also said, at CAG, I won a Daigle harp at the drawing.
No
Doc
kidding.
did. Wow.
Congratulations.
And Amber said, love it when you guys duet.
Thank you, Amber.
Doc said, CAG was great. Would have been even better with you guys. Oh, thank you.
Well, we have a problem in that Lin has been told that she has a set of, and you'd know more about this than we do, but we've been told that she has a set of blood clotting factors that make it somewhat dangerous for her to take the vaccines. That's why she's not accompanying me to CAG, because
well, they want everybody to
and that's fine, but you know, and obviously after what happened at last year's CAG, one can hardly blame them. But and I don't fully understand, you know, all the reasoning behind it, but she won't be able to travel to events like this until things ease up or we figure out that these guys are wrong, one or the other. But, you know, she is understandably reluctant to risk it.
Yes.
Because we're told that she has a blood chemistry such that blood clots will form and then freely flow throughout the body and hit the heart and the brain and
that sort of thing.
So
I have a lot of risks for stroke as it is.
Yeah.
So it's a. I got a couple more here.
Oh, okay.
Ziggy said, George, you might remember that I asked you about the effort of keeping your right arm up in the air when I first saw you playing the Tahoma.
Yeah.
I remember he said that.
Yeah, I do too.
Ziggy said, great harmonies.
Thank you, Ziggy.
And Brendan, love Country Road, yes. And all restrictions have been lifted. We did not know this.
I didn't know that for of course, it's too late to book a flight and all, but I didn't know that for MLAG. Is that right?
Well, I think he's talking about CAG.
Oh, okay.
All restrictions for CAG.
Well, hey, you know, maybe
this next year, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can do it next year. I'd love to.
Natural immunity, you know, should.
Well, and the virus is mutating too. Yeah. It's obviously a virus that kills its host is not equipped for survival.
He said we only had COVID testing.
Oh, okay.
So, well, see, that would be okay.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that'd be. I'd love to do CAG again.
Yes.
I mean, it was my first ever gathering. You know, so, gee.
I have never been to California, have I?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe I have. Always kind of wanted to go there.
It was a great time, and I like the informality of CAG. MLAG is very structured. Every minute of every day is scheduled, and I had a good time, and obviously I did real well at MLAG.
Brendan said CAG was a blast with you.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Well, I know you guys had you get together and jam.
Yeah, Jim Queskin was there. The gal that played with him, what was her name? Muriel something. She has a Facebook page. She plays 20s and 30s music. we jammed. The room that I had with my brother Dan was, all we had to do was walk out across the hall to the porch where all the jams were. It was a smaller venue, so I could find everything pretty well. It was a great time.
Ziggy said my volume is very low. I don't know why, and because I'm sort of right. I moved the mic a little closer to me, and Brendan said George and I had a lot of dad jokes.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see. We'll see what happens next. This will be only my second live performance. I don't count the contest because there was no audience interaction. So we'll see. You can still register for the virtual component of MLAG if you want to. If you can't make it in person, you can hear us all making fools of ourselves online.
I'm going to be there online.
Yes, indeed. Number 7 was written by Dick Feller and was sung by Roger Miller, and it's called "The Day I Jumped from Uncle Harvey's Plane." Me and Oliver and Virgil was in the drugstore killing time when my eyes fell upon this magazine. I got to reading this article about skydiving and parachutes, and it said jumping out of airplanes was the thing. Now, being raised down on a farm, always ready for adventure, I knew that I could figure out a way. I said, well, Delmer Gill's got a parachute and Uncle Harvey's got an airplane. So I said, call the boys together. Today's the day. Well, I found out too late that what Harvey called an airplane was nothing but an engine and a wing. And I could feel my fear rising as Delmer packed the parachute, 'cause he kept telling me I was doing the right thing. Ron McLaughlin shook my hand as J.D. strapped me in that harness, and Tilden brought a jug and passed it around. I took one look at that parachute, at that whiskey and that airplane, and I turned that bottle up and drank it down. Well, I was drunker than Cooler Jones when they poured me in that plane. The engine coughed and headed for the clouds. But I was sober as a judge when Harvey opened up that door, and I've never known my heart to beat so loud. I said, Harvey, I can't do it, as he kicked me out the door, and I wrapped my hands around the landing gear. And I was holding on real good till Harvey stepped upon my fingers, and Virgil heard me scream from way down there. Well, I thank God and Delmer Gill when my parachute finally opened. I said, hell, there ain't no use in being afraid. And I went crashing through the hen house, scattering chickens and breaking eggs, and I kissed the ground and fainted dead away. Well, now, friends, I've fought some battles, and I've been shot at once or twice, and I damn near got run over by a train. But I can't remember ever being more afraid than the day I jumped from Uncle Harvey's plane.
Oh, my. Ziggy said, I registered for the full virtual MLAG package as soon as registering was open.
I haven't registered Lin for it yet. I better get off my dead rear end onto my dying feet and get that done.
In your copious spare time.
Well, yeah, there's that. What
You're
with
busier than a one-armed paper hanger.
yeah,
Sadie groaned on that.
or a less politically correct version of that, a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest,
There you go.
or a cat in a litter box, or
Brendan said Delmer. He.
how'd he get a parachute to begin with? That's what I want to know. How are we doing on time there, keeper of the clock?
2:22.
Oh, we'll be fine. Oh, another Ray Stevens. Ray's real popular around here.
He is.
C.W. Kalb wrote this one, and it's called The Higher Education of Old Blue. Now, this is a joke that I heard Louis Grizzard tell when he did a routine. He was a Southern comic back in the 60s, and C.W. put it to music. Well, my daddy was a backwoods self-made type, never went to school, couldn't read or write, but he made a fortune selling hogs and was suspicious of education. So when I told him I was going off to school, he said, well, you'll just become some city-fied fool. Don't expect no help from me, son. No financial remuneration. Well, my dad was tight, but he loved his dogs, that's true. And his favorite of the pack was called Old Blue. So I called my dad when I got to college. I said, Dad, I know you don't think too much of human knowledge, but they got a course down here where they can teach dogs to speak. I don't mean speak like bark for a bone. No, they say these dogs can carry on an intelligent conversation, and some even go on to teach. When I heard of that course, of course, I thought of you. And how great it'd be for you to sit and talk to Old Blue. Well, the line went silent, and I thought all was lost, and he finally spoke up and said, what's that cost? And I said, Pop, it's a bargain at $5,000 per semester. Well, he didn't balk and he didn't complain, and Blue showed up on the very next train, and that's how my dad became the proud investor in the higher education of Old Blue. A story that if it's not, it ought to be true, about a fiscal windfall situation of my very own creation, the inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue. And the money just kept rolling in. 8 semesters. $40,000. Woo! All too soon, time to graduate. The day had come that I'd grown to hate. The day I'd have to go home and face my dad. I got off of the train. He said, where's Old Blue? Come here, boy, I want to talk to you. I swallowed hard and said, Pop, I got some news and I'm afraid it's bad. See, coming home on the train, Blue was smoking his pipe and reading the New York Times. When he took off his glasses and he looked at me and he said, are you aware of your daddy's crimes? Well, he's a mass murderer, just ask any hog, and he treated my mama just like a dog, rubbed my nose and stuff you wouldn't believe, and made me sleep on the hard, cold ground. But I can talk now, and his days are through. I'm going to tell your mama a thing or two about his secret drinking habit, yeah, and his affair with the Widder Brown. And when I heard Blue say those things, Pop, something snapped inside my brain. I grabbed him up and I strangled him. And I throwed him off the train. Yeah. Well, he looked at me with his eyes ablaze and his face contorted like somebody crazed, and it didn't look like he believed a word I'd said. Then he grabbed my coat and he pulled me real close. He said, boy, there's just one thing I want to know. Are you real sure that no good lying flea bag is dead? And that's the story of the higher education of Old Blue. A story that if it's not, it ought to be true. About a fiscal windfall situation of my very own creation. The inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue. The inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue.
Well,
yeah. I like to think that Old Blue, got a good home instead of being strangled and thrown off the train. But after all, that guy was a college student, subjected to all the influences thereof. So it's hard to tell.
oh, Doc said, warning, Doc joke. Question. What's the difference between an oral thermometer and a rectal thermometer?
Don't know.
The taste.
That's a good one, Doc.
Uh-huh.
I guess what we learned from that is don't calibrate one with the other.
Yeah.
Number 5. Don't know who wrote this. Don Bowman recorded it on his Our Man in Trouble album. It's one of Amber's favorites. It's number 5 on our top 40.
Ha-ha.
Well, I couldn't let that go. It's number 5 on our top 40 countdown. It's called Wrong House. He got into the wrong house again last night. He surely did give everyone the fright. But on his block, all the houses look alike. And he got into the wrong house again last night. I bought myself a house here a few months back. And it's a darling little house. That's a fact. But there's 37 others there, just exact. And I got into the wrong house again last night. My neighbor has got this dog, about 2 feet high. And it's a cute little dog. Little small dog, wouldn't hurt a fly. But I stumbled in their house by mistake this morning, about 5. And that cute little stupid dog nearly ate me alive. I decided I better try the next house in line. And I was skipping tippy-toe across the lawn, double time. Have you ever been hit in the throat with a dirty clothesline? By the way, if you should find a set of teeth out there, they're mine, my teeth. I came in last night and I felt like I had 2 heads. And I was sneaking in the house when I heard this sweet voice say, "Bill, darling, why don't you put out the cat and come to bed?" Which shook me pretty good, 'cause my name's Fred. Whoa. I went up to the next house and rang the bell. And this man, about 8 feet tall, answered the door and said, "What the?" And I said, "Well, I was just passing by, kind of in the area, and I thought I might just visit a spell." But he wasn't too neighborly. He threw me out the back door and called me some names. So I went to sleep in the next house I saw because they all looked the same. I woke up this morning in the doghouse and my head was just pain. And there was a silly kid looking in the door yelling, "Gravy train." He got into the wrong house again last night. He surely did give everyone a fright. But on my block, all the houses look alike. And I got into the wrong house again last night.
Poor old feller.
Shouldn't stay out all night drinking.
No.
But that was recorded back in the 60s, about the time that Tom Paxton did Little Boxes. After World War II, those cookie-cutter communities were great because families were living in parks and all. I mean, there was a tremendous housing shortage after World War II. And then Peter Levitt, of Levittown fame, came along. He was a CB in the Navy. And, well, CBs were in the Navy. It couldn't be a CB if you weren't. And he figured out how to build these houses from plans, prefabbed, all the lumber cut. They could put them up in no time. But they all looked the same. And that's what he was kind of making fun of there.
Amber said favorite with 2 hearts and 3 exclamation points. Then Doc says, "Warning, Doc joke.
All right.
Gastroenterologist has patient prepared for colonoscopy, and the nurse walks in with a tray of beer. Doctor says, 'No, I said a butt light.'" And Hillary Robinson is here.
Hello, Hillary from Northern Ireland.
Hi, George and Lynn. At least I'm going to catch the last 25 minutes.
Well, you know, whatever we can, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to have you welcome, Hillary.
Bud Light's become kind of politically incorrect here lately.
Right.
At least down around here,
They've damaged themselves.
did something. I don't even want to go into it, but
No, but they damaged themselves. I got to move my foot out because I've got a leg cramp. Sorry. There we go. That's better.
number 4 on our top 40 survey was written, of all people, by Mason Williams of classical gas fame. Mason was also quite a comic. And this is a number 4 song, and it's called "You Done Stomped on My Heart." John Denver recorded it in 1979, so here we go. I told you that I loved you. You said that is so good. I called you my darling. I thought I always would. But now you've gone and left me. I don't know what to do. So my little darling, I write these words to you. You done stomped on my heart, and you mashed that sucker flat. You just sorta stomped on my aorta. You started going out with guys, felt us drift apart, and every step you took was a stomp upon my heart. I only hope that someday you get them low-down blues, and some smoky honky-tonk you look down at your shoes. You'll think about that tender heart that you crushed beneath your soles. With your clawed-busting stompers, you left my heart so full of holes. You done stomped on my heart, and you mashed that sucker flat. You just sorta stomped on my aorta. Oh! You started going out with guys. I felt us drift apart, and every step you took was a stomp upon my heart.
Doc said, anatomy lesson.
Yes?
And Hillary said, you sort of stomped on my aorta. What a brilliant rhyme. And 3 grin faces on that one. I always thought that too on that line. You just sort of stomped on
my aorta. Just thinking about that is so gruesome. It's just...
There's a writer of songs, that person.
Oh, he did these poems, and I've only got one of them in mind, and I'm gonna risk it. It's kind of an extra. You know how they used to do on the radio in the Top 40 survey? Here's an extra we think is really going to go big. Well,
okay.
How about them moose goosers? Ain't they recluse? Down in the boondocks, goosing them moose. Goosing them big moose, goosing them tiny, poking them matty moose in they honey. Look at them moose goosers, ain't they dumb? Some use an umbrella, some use a thumb. Them obtuse moose goosers slipping through the woods, poking them snoozy moose in they goods. How to be a moose gooser, it'll turn your puce. Get your gooser loose and rouse a drowsy moose.
I love that. That's a good one.
And there are like 18 of them or 19 of them. Beaver cleavers, duck pluckers,
Was there a toad?
Sand scratchers, toad suckers, lunch toaders. There were all kinds of them. I did them all earlier in the show. Maybe I'll bring those back.
That'd be fun.
Plus some of the ones we did, like
we made up
bread bakers and button poppers and weed whackers. And we did a few on a couple of nights when we were imbibing some adult beverages, and we actually wrote the lyrics of them down. But yeah, he was a funny guy when he was of a mind to.
Doc said, Bullwinkle, that trick never works.
All right, we are getting down to the end, folks.
Is this number 3?
Number 3 on our survey. And this is the first time I've ever played this on this Autoharp, so I have no idea how it's going to work. Written by Bert Lee and R.P. Weston. And this is the sing-along portion of the night, or of the concert, ladies and gentlemen, so you know how that works. The old 60s folk singers had a chorus that you could just sing along with, and this song has that too, and I'm sure you'll catch on to it right away. It's called A Proper Cup of Coffee. Sultan sat on an oriental mat in his harem in downtown Persia. He took a sip of coffee, just a drip, and he said to his servant, curse ya. Oh, curse ya, curse ya, curse ya. Oh, that's the worst cup of coffee in Persia. 'Cause here's your part now. You ready? All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee in a proper copper pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. You got it? Well, join right in. In days of old, when knights and men were bold, and whiskey was much cheaper, Ben Turpin rode to his coffee shop and showed his pistols to the keeper. And he said, "Stand and deliver. Can't you see I'm all a quiver? 'Cause," ready? "All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee in a proper copper pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea." Hey, you're getting it. I'm hearing some people sing out there. Bonaparte found that he was in a cart when he lost that Waterloo fight. He gave his sword to Wellington, my lord, and he said, "You British can't have fight. Now you've had your Waterloo, sir. Tell me, what am I having with you, sir? 'Cause everybody, all I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a proper coffee in a proper copper pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea." Ah, there we go. I knew you'd get it. This is your last chance. Now King Solomon and his queen would carry on, so we heard in the ancient scandals. He bought her lots of silver coffee pots with diamond legs and handles. And said the Queen of Sheba, "I'd rather have any old tea bag." 'Cause everybody, all I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a proper coffee in a proper copper pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper pot. See, I can't do it either. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee in a proper cup of pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper cup of coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. All I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee in a proper cup of pot. Iron coffee pots and tin coffee pots, they are no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper cup of coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
Well, see, that's what happens when you have all those proper cups of coffee. You start speeding, you know.
Yeah, then you can do it.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough.
Hang on a minute, I got a couple here. Amber says, "I keep trying, but I can never keep up." With this one, and Hillary said, "My favorite, thank you."
Yes.
And I think Amber said I end up just sputtering. Hillary put several grin faces, And Pat Byrne is with us. Hi, George.
Hello,
and
Pat.
Hi,
Top of the
Pat.
evening to you.
I have not heard it in a long time, he said.
Yeah.
And Doc said, yay. And Pat said, George. Wow. No, that was good. That was hard. And I think I know the thing and I don't. Not at that speed. It's a very long time it is.
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you stopped in, Hillary, and you got to hear it one more time.
Yes. Yeah, I actually spent time trying to learn that thing.
Well, you were doing
I was
good.
keeping up until you went, hit the accelerator.
Well, I had too many proper cups of coffee.
That's what happened. Oh, my.
Okay, we are down to it here. This is the number 2 song.
Oh, Doc said, customer, thus coffee tastes like, this coffee tastes like dirt. Waitress, it was ground this morning.
Yeah, groan. See, he probably tells his patients this to keep them calm before he cuts them open. Here is a song of the sea that was, I think, written and I know recorded by a Canadian folk singer named Lenny Gallant. And it's called Tales of the Phantom Ship. It comes in at number 2 on our top 40.
Yes.
On a night as black as a raven's feather, when thunder cracks like the slap of leather, and the wind whips through the black spruce on the shore, and the waves are pounding on the beaches harder, and the last of the fishermen reach safe harbor, and the wind blows cold, cuts to the core. Out on the wide Northumberland Strait, a ball of fire skips o'er the waves, and those who watch, they can't believe their eyes. There's a burst of flame and a flash of light. There on the tide is a frightening sight. A tall ship all aflame lights up the sky. Tales of the Phantom Ship, from truck to keel ablaze. She sails the wide Northumberland Strait. No one knows her name. Tales of the Phantom Ship. There's a ship of fire, they cry. Hard against the wind she sails. No one can say why. It's said she's a 3-masted square rigger, 400 tons or maybe bigger, with fire at every rope and spar and sail. Out of the east till the wind blows west, she plows the strait on an unknown quest, cutting through the waves with the strength of a full force gale. But why she appears there's none can know. Some say it's nothing but a moonlit glow, but those who've seen her swear they tell no lies. They tell how her bow suddenly drops down, and into the depths of the strait she's found, and the wind goes wild with wailing, chilling cries. Tale of the Phantom Ship, from truck to keel ablaze. She sails the wide Northumberland Strait. No one knows her name. Tale of the Phantom Ship. There's a ship of fire, they cry. Hard against the wind she sails. No one can say why. Some say she's an immigrant ship of old, Highland Scots whose land was stolen, lost at sea while seeking a new land. Or a ghostly American privateer that plundered innocent harbors here, cursed us sail the strait, forever damned. But an old man sang a song to me, 600 Acadia drowned at sea, deported long ago from St. John's Isle. They said they sail this choppy strait, through time and tide they navigate, searching for the means to end their long exile. Tales of the phantom ship, from truck to keel ablaze, she sails the wide Northumberland Strait, no one knows her name. Tales of the phantom ship, it's a ship of fire, they cried. Hard against the wind she sails, no one can say why. Tales of the phantom ship, from truck to keel ablaze, she sails the wide Northumberland Strait, no one knows her name. Tales of the phantom ship, it's a ship of fire there, it's a ship of fire, they cry. Hard against the wind she sails, no one can say why. Hard against the wind she sails, when will she sail again?
Wow. Amber said chills every time with a heart.
Yeah, that's an intense song. It really is. Well, we are.
And Doc said, answering service. The invisible man wants an appointment. Doctor, tell him I can't see him.
Yeah, you know,
I love it.
I'm glad you stopped by today, Doc. I really am. Yeah. All right, we are down to the number one.
Number one.
The number one most played song that we've done in our 82 previous shows. We're not counting show 83 because it was the other half of this. But, okay, this song cannot be, at least for me, played. It's got to be played bare nails.
All right.
Was recorded by Earl Scruggs of Flatt and Scruggs fame in 1949. And here it is. Friends, not one finger ever left my hand.
Oh, my.
And I'm glad of that. Even though we had Doc here, he could have put it back.
Yeah. Amber said, the suspense, what is number one? And then she She said, oh, I was hoping. And Hillary said, great final piece, but I'm so glad I arrived in time for the coffee pot song. And Ziggy, yay, the award-winning Foggy Mountain Breakdown, my favorite.
Thank you.
In a heart.
Thank you, everybody.
And Amber said, yeah, and Doc said, yee-haw.
Well, folks, it's been a real pleasure. And we've counted down the top 40 songs. That is the most played. That's how we did it.
Doc said your fingers, quote unquote, nailed it. It did, yeah.
If I get to CAG, I'm going to have to brush up on my puns. I can see that right now. If you can, drop something in our tip jar to help defray some of the expenses of getting to MLAG that weren't covered by the prize, like expenses for the dog and everything. For those of you who know that Indy's been kind of sickly from time to time, we may have found some medications to fix that. And
it looks like it.
It really does look like it. And I'm going to leave you with this good advice. Keep skunks, bankers, and politicians at a distance.
Yes.
Well, now it's time to say goodbye to George and all his kin. We'd sure like to thank you folks for kindly dropping in. You're all invited back real soon to this locality to have a heaping helping of our hospitality. Down home style, that is. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Y'all come back now here. Now, I want to say one more quick thing that I forgot to say earlier. Obviously, there will be no show the second Saturday of June because I'll be at MLAG.
Yay.
So
Not yay, there's no show, but yay. You'll be
yeah,
at
all right, we get a break.
I mean, yay, you'll be at MLAG.
Tell me what you really think, Lin.
Bad timing.
The next show will be Saturday, the 24th of June. So just about a month from now, a little less than a month from now. I have no idea what the topic will be. I've got a couple of things in the offing. I could do songs about trains and railroads, and then I've got a couple of tributes that I'm going to do later on. One for Don Bowman, another for Tom Paxton.
Yes.
But we will let you know. If you haven't already done so, follow the Autoharp Down Home Facebook page. We don't clutter it up. If you get a post from there, it has to do with the show. So if you want to keep track and you haven't already done so, follow the Autoharp Down Home Facebook page.
Hillary said, hope your dog will be okay. And he is on the mend as far as we know.
He's on the mend. He gets sick to his stomach every 2 months.
That's not.
And it's where a dog normally, when they get sick to their stomach, they'll give you some warning. You know, they'll kind of yolk a little bit. With him, he's walking along fine, and then bleh. It's quite disturbing.
Our vet has been working with us on...
He's worked really hard. The school's working really hard. And we may have found a set of medications to stop it. The second to the last thing I want him to do is throw up on an airplane, and the last thing I want him to do is throw up on stage.
Oh, yeah.
So we're working on that.
Ziggy said, great show. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ziggy.
See you later.
Yes, indeed. We will be there this evening. And
Doc said travel safely, and Amber said love the greatest hits.
thank you
We had a
all.
great time.
We had a great time today, and we will see you all in about a month. Take good care of yourselves. Goodbye. Good luck. And may the good Lord take a liking to you, as Roy Rogers used to say.
Yeah.